little bit hesitant. Like I was just relaxing. I was just starting to tell them about my childhood and the things I got up to when I was around that age, between 10 and 15, which was a terrible idea because I told them some stories about me when I was kind of 11, 12, and they kind of carry on. We used to get up to like when, you were allowed outside the house to play and stuff like that. Um, and now he's told everybody, he's told the entire fucking world about daddy in the local priory ringing the death bell when we didn't know what it was, and monks running around the priory. But he loved it. They loved it. They all broke their heart laughing. They thought it was fucking hilarious, and it was hilarious. I have to say.
Yeah.
So I have that to contend with. And we also have to contend with, which is what we want to talk about tonight, which is the prospect of the new black and tans apparently are arriving in Ireland. And my knowledge about this, well, let's face it, it would be no surprise, really, would it?
No.
So it's only big news in the sense that somebody might have actual proof of it happening. Again, we're talking about security companies in Ireland, so it's no mystery that anybody who takes security seriously hires, ex-military guys to carry out the security for them, because you want professionals to, carry out that function. So I was listening to Twitter Space, and which is normally terrible. Like, it's just fucking, I won't name it. I won't name it for some of the people who are on it frequently may well be listening. So I won't name it for the moment. But you said it. It's essentially like Coronation Street. It's it's better than Fair City, but it's depressing as fuck. It's like, half drunk women crying and bemoaning the fall of Ireland, and it's really fucking bad. But I listen in every now and again, primarily because it keeps flashing up on Twitter saying there's a live space, and there seems to be a live space all the fucking time, like for 24 hours. So I tuned in, and the conversation's usually the same about, the state of the country, foreigners, immigrants, what do we do with them, how do we get rid of them, what's the plan, what are we actually doing, why isn't there an uprising, why aren't people shooting other people dead in the streets? Come on, let's get our shit together and get this show on the road. So then there was a bit of a kerfuffle, and a serious allegation was made about somebody. I'm not going to say what the allegation was, because to repeat it is kind of not even to give credence to it, but it casts doubt on particular people, and it was a particularly shitty thing to fucking say. But I don't know the background, and I don't know why it would be said. The fact that I'm being mysterious about it actually probably makes it worse now, because it leaves it up to people's own fucking sordid imaginations to fill in the gaps. But essentially, it was around this man. Goes by the name GP on Twitter, or Graham dePenrose. I've never heard of him before.
No, neither have I.
Yeah, but he came on anyway to defend himself, and then there was like maybe 30 or 40 minutes of what sounded like an argument in a bar. And it just sounded like these people were going to fucking kill each other,
Well, yeah, no, if it was an argument in a bar, then they'd all be out in their arses.
Yeah, but it's a safe space, so Twitter is the safe space, which makes me wonder, does our government really want to, limit people's access to social media? For me, it would be completely counterintuitive. Like that's the best place to have people. One, if there's anybody serious about doing anything, well, then there's no real need for, surveillance. It's already fucking there. All they have to do, I sat into this room out of nowhere and sat and listened. So I'm sure there's, whatever unit of An Garda, fucking Síochána, or
bet.
Yeah, are in there, or they'll just play it back, it records, so they can just sit back and play it back and listen at their leisure, really.
Or so even just run it through a fucking like Descript or some other kind of AI software and just search for keywords. And these guys self-snitch so bad, man.
Yeah, it's unfucking real. It's like it's essentially laying out the plan there and then, So for me, it may be just a very clever ploy on behalf of government to, that when it's like a child, when you threaten to take away its toy, it's like, no, I want that toy. They didn't really want it to begin with, but because there's the threat of taking it away, it becomes particularly precious. So it's like, well, we must do everything we can to hang on to this, because if anything serious was going to happen or is going to happen, the last thing you're going to do is go on to social media or broadcast it for everybody to hear what your plan is, you know. And it gives there's just that false illusion that people are actually doing something, you know. In a sense, you are, you know, you're discussing it, you're, you know, getting it off your chest,
Sure.
but realistically, other than that, you know, not much is going to.
Nothing's happening.
Nothing's happening. So after 40 minutes or so of just this back and forth of you said this, you did this guy is this guy is that, we're the real people. No, you're not the real people. And it's like, oh, well, it's good to see that Irish nationalism has progressed beyond infighting, you know?
Oh, you know what? I tuned in for like all of 20 seconds before I decided, fuck this shit. And you wouldn't guess what I heard, right? Was some fella who, you know, on the other side of JP, I guess, saying, so I was there in Centra and I was talking to this woman and she said something about you. And then GP said, name her, name her, name her, name her, name her. I'm like, geez, what? Some woman down at Centra? What the fuck? This is the most stupid, retarded Irish shit I've ever heard, man.
Yeah, so it was essentially like anybody who's involved in the nationalist movement, at least online, was named here, and you know, like this person is a potential traitor, that person's a potential traitor, and I don't know if this is a reflection of Twitter or a reflection of people. This is how it's always been in every movement throughout fucking time. It's just we don't have the luxury of actually being able to listen in, and it's very odd because you know you would feel like with all this threat around us that you'd be very hesitant to say anything, but these people just feel fucking they're unloading, you know. It's like you're talking about, you know, all sorts, and people can find it with a little bit of research, but I don't feel comfortable, like I said, mentioning the space or mentioning the people in particular, because some things were said that are particularly shitty, and to repeat them could be dangerous for the people. But I honestly think they're pretty much a danger to each other anyway. So whatever will transpire will, if it does. But there seem to be some pretty serious people involved in it with serious backgrounds, and they can sort that shit out amongst themselves. Yeah. But finally, we get to the crux of the matter, which is the fact that apparently the iPass contracts for security, especially around Thornton Hall, have been moved away from the current provider, and a new provider has taken over, and that new provider is a private military contractor or a conglomeration of private military contractors. So we go to, first of all, this is from GP's Twitter page, and I'd like to get him on because he's an interesting guy. He's funny as fuck, I have to say.
Oh yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah, a complete dickhead, which I admire and love. You know, just takes no shit. Is a dub, very well spoken, comes across as very, very knowledgeable. We may have met this man on different forums because you know, it's a small enough world, really.
Yeah.
Especially for anybody over the age of 30, you're bound to cross them. But like I say, there's be a lot of crossover. So this is about GP anyway. So just about his profile from Twitter. So you can book a 30-minute one-to-one consultation. So Graham Joseph dePenrose, author on AI ethics and cognitive warfare, EduCreators founding member, Geopol SME, leader of the Tuatha Dé Danann, and owner of TMG Corps, which is, I believe, a private military contractor that operates in Russia. Expertise, 35 plus years in entrepreneurship, emerging technology and national security. Specialization, AI ethics, Web3 technology, cybersecurity, corporate education in AI. Positions, founder, AI and I, artificial intelligence and integrity, ethical, decentralized AA, challenging corporate monopolies, founder of the Tuatha Dé Danann, pioneering a new political dialogue in Ireland, leveraging AI and Web3 for societal advancement, an author of upcoming publications. Can you call yourself an author if they're unpublished? I suppose so. The first potential author of upcoming publications, The First Cognitive Devolution, and AI, Artificially Indoctrinated. Education, Artificial Intelligence, Syed Business School, University of Oxford, United Kingdom. Bachelor of Science degree in Trinity College Dublin, and studied, excuse me, criminology in Dublin Business School in Ireland. Geopolitical analyst specializing in hybrid, nonlinear, asymmetrical, and urban warfare. Author of dePenrose Tabula Rasa Theory of Web3, the first cognitive evolution. Artificially indoctrinated. Oh no, that's pending. So there, the last two are pending. And then so we can contact Graham. I haven't, excuse me, I haven't researched any of this, but I'll take it on face value.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, and I did a little bit. So there's a couple of news articles about him, and there's the LinkedIn bio, and he has worked in security for IBM and Hewlett Packard, and he has had businesses, multi-billion euro businesses. So there is some credence to it, So let's jump to the post in question if I can find it.
Right. Do you want me to call it up? He put out a few now on this.
Yeah.
It's a series of posts. Okay, so should I go for the very first one?
Yeah, there's a lot of them to go through. Let's go. Let's start at the beginning. It would make sense.
Okay. Let me see if I can call this up on. I can link you, and you can read if you want, but I'm going to put it on the screen as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let me link you there. Right. So I believe this is the first one. Today, the Intelligence and Counter-Espionage Unit of TUAF will publish the first of a series of extracts from our report on the findings of a multi-pronged investigation conducted over the last 8 months. Is this what we're looking for?
Yeah. I just want to stop there for a minute. We take this as serious as we can, but it's us, so we have to interject at some stage to point out some discrepancies. The Tuatha is a terrible name for a political organization in this day and age.
Is it a political organization?
Well, it's not, but it is, because he said it. Well, it's to change the political landscape. It's not a political organization. Let me just clarify that. It's not.
Okay.
So just like the Nationalist Party, it won't fall under the rules of SIPO or anything like that. But it is a movement. So Tuatha Dé Danann, to name anything after the Tuatha Dé Danann, unless it's an Irish dancing school or something like that, is fucking. It's
stupid.
Just it's stupid. Yeah. And especially around this, because the biggest issue we face today is related to immigration. Now, this may come as a shock to many people, but the Tuatha Dé Danann were immigrants to Ireland.
Invaders, actually.
Invaders, yes, and they took over and they won. And it was quite a while until they were defeated by another group of immigrants. So, I get it. I get the the mythology and the reasons for it, and the Tuatha Dé Danann. There's some controversy around if they were actually gods or if they were just people who found themselves in extraordinary times, and that might be the best way to go with it. And just ordinary people were thrown into extraordinary circumstances and positions, and it worked out well for them. But they were immigrants. And the original inhabitants, were fucking slaughtered in the hundreds of thousands, So maybe not the best of names, but it's probably too late now for a rebrand. So I just wanted to mention that. I had to say that.
It makes me cringe, honestly.
It is cringy. Yeah, without any knowledge of who the Tuatha Dé Danann were, just the basic knowledge is kind of like, come on. Sorry, do you want to carry on there?
You want me to read?
We'll take it in turns.
Okay. A new threat commenced 6th of September 2024. Fuck. I hate reading.
I'll read. I'll take over.
Okay.
I won't put your throat.
Okay.
So a new threat commenced on the 6th of September 2024. The investigation has uncovered a new network infiltrating Ireland. A discovery that poses a severe and immediate threat to national security and sovereignty. It has revealed that foreign intelligence and military agents are operating within Ireland, with support from Irish institutions, the Irish government, and others who will be specifically named in the next series post. This annoys me to begin with, right? This kind of drip feed approach. Now, it will be explained within the post here, but I just have to say, if it's of national importance, just dump it. You know, like,
it's like the Twitter files.
Yeah.
Where, like, oh, Musk is exposing the truth, but what he's doing is he's given the dump to journalists who then will be able to get big names off of having selectively drip fed the information.
Yeah, and just with this practice of drip feeding information, there tends to be a process of it just drags on for fucking ever. Like, so then, you know, it's like a prophecy. It's like, okay, all will be revealed on a particular date, and then, you know, something just miraculously happens to put that out by a month or 2 months. And then there's normally some sort of funding campaign attached to it, which just, you know, it raises one's suspicions. Let's say that, you know, and that's not to say that this is what this is, but it just irks me. Like, so if you have some big fucking story, just release it. And like I said, now there will be a justification for it. Well, you know, we'll get into that in a minute. But if it's of national importance, if I came across this, if someone came to me and said, listen, I have this information, please can you release it? Can you drip feed release it over the next, you know, whatever month or two, so I can get out of the country and I'm safe? I would say, okay, fair enough. As soon as you're out of the country, I'll release it all. I'm not going to release a little bit, and then a little bit, and then a little bit further. So, you know, like, depending on, do you have your ticket now? Yeah, okay, I'll release the next bit. It's like, okay, as soon as you're gone, I'm fucking releasing it all, because it's of such national importance, you know. So we'll get into that. So investigation methods. Over the last 7 months, the Intelligence and Counter-Espionage Unit of Tuatha De Danann, again, if you're, you wouldn't really be announcing it, would you? I don't know. Maybe it's safer to announce it, and just forgive my skepticism and cynicism. But you have to be. People have been burned too many fucking times.
Exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's not to say that the guy is lying or we shouldn't believe him. It's just the state of affairs in this particular world that you can't just take it at face value. You have to do some level of due diligence, even if it is just pure fucking cynicism to begin with. So the Counter-Espionage Unit of Tuatha De Danann, in collaboration with TMG Corp specialists at TMG Corps, is it Core or Corps? I can never...
Core.
Okay.
Yeah, Core.
Core. Okay. Conducted an extensive investigation using advanced intelligence methods, including infiltrated loyalist and union security firms in Northern Ireland, conducted interviews with former staff and civil servants, analysed documents and recordings from fully doxed sources, analysed documents and recordings from anonymous sources and independently verified them, deployed drones for surveillance. We used motion-activated video devices with audio recording capabilities, reviewed original documents, emails, contracts, logistic plans, and maps from former contractors and employees of key players in the mix, conducted surveillance of private security companies and paramilitary group members in Ireland, Northern Ireland, and the UK, utilised other undisclosed intelligence gathering methods. Our findings present a solid case for proof of illegal and treasonous collusion at a scale based on extensive evidence, all of which will be released unaltered for your review during the series of posts. Okay, key actors identified. Due to space limitations, the complete list of provable implicated private companies and individuals, politicians, civil service, and others will be published today at 1100 hours Eastern, Tuesday, September the 10th. Key actors include British and Irish security companies, former military personnel, and high-ranking public officials. We will also publish the first recorded conversations of implicated private companies and individuals.
Hang on. 11 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah.
Like Eastern United States?
It's I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, that's all that could be.
Yeah.
Why?
Unless the audience is predominantly Americans, so there's
Oh,
13,000.
here we go again with the fucking Americans sticking their nose in.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Again, if there is a call for money,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's face it, there would have to be anybody who's going to do anything needs money. So you need money. Like there's been no successful movement that hasn't been funded. Um, it's a simple thing. Like
Fair enough. Okay.
yeah, but I don't know. It does seem strange to 1100 hours Eastern to be going with that time zone. Unless that's where he's based at the moment. I believe he lives abroad or spends a lot of the time abroad, but I don't really know.
Okay.
So treason defined by the 1939 Treason Act. The investigation points to actions that could constitute treason under the 1939 Treason Act. These acts undermine national security and erode the right and freedoms guaranteed under Bunlock Heron, the Irish Constitution. It's probably a moot point mentioned. Like nobody's ever been tried for treason. It's almost impossible to convict anybody on treason unless you have a new government who's
Exactly. The current deep state isn't going to punish itself. Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Alleged conspiracy and intent. The intent outcome is to undermine Ireland's national security and erode the rights and freedoms of the Irish people, using manufactured threats to justify increased emergency powers under the central government and severely limit free speech and the people's fundamental rights to assembly, for protest and protection. Now, absolutely, like even without this story coming forward, we know that's the play. And it would be no stretch to imagine that either the state proper or its proxies would, in fact, actually, it would be negligent if they didn't infiltrate. Like from a state point of view, it would be completely negligent if they didn't have actors within movements, and then would go down the route of a false flag to create a scenario at an event, say on. Well, not on the 19th. So on the 19th of September, there'll be a big protest in Dublin. All they would need to do there is, just throw a couple of cops into the mix and start, firing bricks at the riot squad assemble, and that would put an end to that. It would just, the riot squad would move in and break it up and start beating people off the streets.
Mm-hmm.
But if they did want to bring in, the hate speech laws, they've tried everything they can do so far to push it through without having to go to any extreme measures to get it through. They've done all that and they failed miserably because enough people just don't want it to go through. They're wise to it, So it would be no stretch for them to just, lob a fire or lob a pipe bomb into one of those centres and have it explode, or, maybe kill 4 or 5 immigrants. And then it's like, okay, this is it. Emergency powers now. We're putting this through immediately. We're going into a lockdown scenario. So absolutely. And I hope this is true, because if all this is true and there's evidence to back it up, well, that ends it. Right fucking there. Like, well, then it's like, okay, well, here's the fucking, where's the proof? Here's the proof. Here's the documents. Here's the contracts. Here's the contractors. Here are the people involved. You've got loyalist paramilitaries, ex-British service members. It's all laid out for everybody to fucking see. I guarantee the Irish press probably wouldn't touch it with a fucking barge pole. But some will.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't gain traction here, it will certainly gain traction internationally. There's enough interested people where this isn't going to be unique to Ireland. So if this is the case, and I hope it is, because it would put a serious fucking dent in the plans. And, like I said, it's not beyond the realms of imagination that this could, and probably will happen, either if it's engineered by the state or if some people get it into their own heads to go ahead and do it anyway. And the outcome would probably be the same. Let's face it, there is no far-right threat in Ireland and that anybody's aware of. If we go by what we hear on Twitter, there's really nothing to worry about. People are kind of, tetchy and are talking about it. But everybody's wishing somebody else would do it, And I think if anything serious was going to happen, it probably would have happened by now. And the state here, like anybody who's of any threat, is under constant fucking surveillance anyway. We have so many fucking laws and powers in place that anyone who poses a serious threat to the state is taken immediately. They're, in their fucking section 30, or they'll just go before the special criminal court, and they're essentially disappeared before they can get up to any real sort of mischief, So anyway, we'll carry on. Alleged conspiracy and intent. The intended outcome is to undermine Ireland's national security. And the report and release schedule. We will release this report in segments, complete with verified evidence, including audio recordings that provide proof of covert meetings and plans designed to surveil and control Irish citizens, particularly those protesting at IPAS and direct provision centres. These plans include agents posing as protesters to discredit opposition movements. Absolutely, it's to be expected. Building distrust and expanding central powers. The report outlines their strategy to infiltrate citizen protest groups and orchestrate violent events, intending to create chaos and casualties. The goal is to provide a pretext for accelerating emergency powers by the 33rd Dáil, falsely blaming Irish protesters and concerned citizens. Ireland's people at risk. We reveal these findings with mixed emotions. Relief in exposing the truth. They're deeply saddened by the betrayals by Irish men and women in power who align with hostile foreign actors. Our democracy is at risk. We must act decisively to protect it. Please support our efforts to protect Irish sovereignty. Please contribute any information to the X accounts listed at the post to support the ongoing fight to reclaim Irish sovereignty and restore our freedoms. It's Michelle Lamas, Graham dePenrose, leader, Tuatha De Dan, followed by an AI picture.
It's not looking good, man. Jesus. No. Look at those medals, man. Jesus Christ.
I know. Yeah, is that a woman to the far left in uniform?
Oh yeah, just at the corner, yeah. Or that, or no, actually, I think I see some growth, or that could be a woman. Don't want to misgender someone.
Yeah, it could be. So none of this is outrageous. None of it's really unbelievable that that the state would do this. They've done it before. Like, we know about collusion with loyalist paramilitaries.
Yeah.
We know that the IRA, the provisionals, were essentially, an MI6 outfit.
Mm-hmm.
We know already that most of, deep state actors within any serious position of power within Ireland are MI6 agents, or they have serious links to British intelligence. We have fucking Drew Harris, commissioner of the guards. Like, it's laughable to say it out fucking loud, but a former NI6 agent, an OBE, is he an OBE or CBE? I don't know.
OBE,
Commander.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was his father murdered by the fucking IRA.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he is the head of the police in Ireland. Like, you couldn't fucking make it up. Like,
no.
Even more shocking than that, like, I found out something truly horrific today. Our current Taoiseach, Simon Harris, is a Jew.
Oh.
I didn't know his mother's Jewish.
Oh.
So he's culturally Jewish. He's not, religiously Jewish.
Yeah, he could technically move to Israel if he wants, because it's your mother that has to be a Jew.
Yeah, that's the defining criteria, isn't it?
Yeah.
A Jewish mother. Now, that may mean nothing, but it may also mean something.
I also want to mention General Kitson. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He learned the ways of suppression in Nigeria as well as Northern Ireland, and it was not long before things really kicked off in the north around 1972, when the split happened and such, that Kitson returned to Northern Ireland and holed up in this kind of fucking heavily guarded fucking complex, where he issued orders, basically drawing upon his vast experience of infiltrating native movements and subverting them, and psychological operations to divert the hearts and minds, to basically convince the Irish that their fight for freedom it was actually evil. And, we see that today with the prevailing attitude about the IRA, not just in Ireland, but around the world. When people hear about IRA now, it's not like, oh yeah, those great freedom fighters. No, it's these scumbags who blew up children. So if Penrose is correct, if he's not just making up tales, which I'm leaning towards that he isn't, these guys from the UK may not be the direct students of Kitson, but the students of Kitson's students. They are back again to unleash these horrific fucking strategies on us again. And they took those strategies to Afghanistan in particular, also to a certain extent in Iraq, and I'm sure they learned a few lessons there too.
Absolutely. And let's be honest, as things stand, I don't think our people would stand much of a chance.
No.
Doesn't mean that would be the end of it. I think there is enough resistance within people, and that they would muster some sort of fight. But it's not the 1920s. It's not 1930. Irish men en masse haven't been involved in any sort of war or have had any military training ever. So the vast majority of us, outside of picking up a stick or running towards somebody and throwing a few punches, have no clue what the fuck they'd be doing on that level. Back around the Civil War, it was the World War One had just ended, so there was a large amount of men who had the ability to do something or could train others. I don't even think we've any young people left in the country now, do we? I think they've all emigrated. The fucking average age of the population now, I think, is 40, 42 or something like that.
Yeah.
But the problem is with this, and as this was being discussed on that space, people were panicking. Like there was one woman who was actually crying and sobbing, oh, this is the end. What are we going to do? And it sounded like she was acting to me, but again, that's just my level of fucking suspicion around it all. It's like, oh my God, is this a fucking soap opera? But like I say, it could be genuine because, people are, very concerned and stressed, and it's terrible news, and you don't want it to be true. Like who wants this to be true in that sense? Oh, well, there's 600 fucking, guys, ex-paratroopers and ex-SAS and, the whole fucking shebang. So it's not like they're just, average fucking infantry guys. So these are supposedly, very well-trained members. So like you said, that's where they're coming from. They're coming from places in Iraq. They're coming from Bagra, the worst fucking places in the Middle East. And they've been involved in counterinsurgency on a real level against a real enemy. So the Taliban versus Paddy with a fucking shillelagh or a hurley, it's not much of a fight. If there are people who are easily identifiable as leaders or potential leaders, it would be particularly easy to pick them off, at least initially. But that can be counterproductive as well, because then it grows beyond that. Then people become wise to it. Okay, well, we've seen what happened to those guys, and we have some martyrs. And every movement, unfortunately, it does need a couple of martyrs.
Yeah.
To get things going. And we did have Black and Tans before. It didn't work out particularly well for them. And these people would be fucking ostracized within the community. And anyway, we'll carry on with part two. So breaking with a little siren. There's no need for that. Like, this is big enough news as it is. Like, you don't really need the siren, but it is Twitter, so I suppose you have to.
Yeah, there's conventions.
Yeah. So breaking, Tuatha Dé Danann exposes foreign infiltration in Ireland, part two. The British private security and private military companies stationed at Thornton Hall since Friday, 6th of September 2024. The following are companies who took over the security at Thornton Hall on Friday the 6th. The companies that were on site at the time were given 1 hour's notice before these new companies were put in place. Thus, there was confusion outside Thornton Hall last Friday as the notice was not served on the security companies in situ. Now, I think it was last week we played clips. Do you remember of the guys turning up at Thornton Hall? And there was a guy, rather large fella, whose voice was disguised, and he was, giving shit to the security guard, saying, there's a rising. Who are you? What are you doing? What's going on? And prior to that, that same guy and other guys were up at the front gate, trying to gain entrance, and it didn't really dawn on me, like, well, why weren't the gates just opened, and why didn't they go in? Why would they be waiting outside? Surely the gates would just be open and they would be let in. So looking back on it, it would make sense that these guys are going to the front gate and they can't get in. So then they go to the rear gate to try and get in, but they can't get in because if this is the case, their contract has been voided. They're no longer required as security on that site. So they may well have actually been replaced with this new outfit. So that would seemingly add up, because from a security point of view, if you have 7 or 8 of your members outside, why not open the gate and just let them let them in?
But then again, how did nobody notice the replacements? Were they power dropped in or something?
Well, they could have been just let in, like, so. So we were there.
Yeah.
And we see there's an access road. So there's an access road that goes on for 1.5 kilometers. There's other ways into that area as well, so they wouldn't have to. So if we're dealing with professionals, well, then they're not going to go into the front gate. They're not going to go to the rear of the gate. They're not going to knock on the door like and say hi, or come in on the bus and start waving at people. Yeah, we're going in with the guns hanging out the window. So they just would have come in a different route.
Right. Yeah, but how many people are we talking about here? Someone would have noticed, I'm certain.
Well, again, we don't know, right? So again, they could come in any way, shape, or form. Like, so if there's building work going on, so you have people coming and going all the time. So it's not like 2 busloads or fucking people. Like 160 people at a time are going to arrive in blacked out vans with the fucking, or an A-team vans, with the music blaring and fucking, with a big sign, paddy killer on the side of the fucking truck, like. So they could easily get in numerous different ways. And I don't know how many people are there. I don't even know if it's true.
Yeah.
But this would just basically would make more sense of why are these people being hassled outside, and why isn't the fucking gate being open? So the only way to find out what's going on inside would be to have somebody go there and see what's going on inside. And if it is fucking 600, a detachment of 600 killers inside, well, you'd either have to be very brave or very foolish to go and have a look.
Yeah.
And thankfully, you volunteered to do it by yourself.
That would be great.
Yeah, so that's what it would take. It would take, basically, somebody to go and see what's going on inside. And even then, what would you see? Because if it is these guys, well, then you wouldn't get very far, let's say. Okay, so it's not Iraq. So it's not like somebody would show up and you're going to be hit by a sniper, before you get there. But there would be measures, and if you're dealing with professionals, there would be, and they don't want people seeing what's going on inside. There would be measures in place, counterinsurgency measures, where anybody who gets anywhere near the facility is identified immediately. So they'll have listening posts and they'll have their own cameras set up. So you'd be identified immediately. You would be approached and questioned. Beyond that, they can't do anything. They can't start snatching people. And, if that happens, well, then we're in bigger fucking trouble than we actually
Then it really is Iraq.
Yeah, then we're done now. Like, so now it's, it's man eat fucking man. So it's perfectly fine to start
Right.
upping the game on that front. It's like, okay, the 600 of them inside, what are they going to do? Start shooting people? Do you think people in the Irish Army are going to just go, okay, well, that's absolutely fine, no problem at all. Yeah, you go ahead and start killing people. We'll just sit here and wait for orders. There might be still some people who go, do you know what? Fuck it. Let's go. I don't care. Fuck orders. Go fuck yourself. You're killing my fucking friends and family. I don't care anymore. Like, and I'm taking all these weapons with me and I'm going to distribute them to the people on the street. And that will happen. If it doesn't happen, I'll shoot myself in the fucking head. If that doesn't happen, even though I don't have a gun, I don't know how I'd do it. But yeah, I'll throw myself off a building. There you go. That'd be better.
Can I just say, we've been there, right? Yeah. And we there's nothing there. It looks like a giant halting site, really, with a few outhouses. Like where will all these people be? If we go back, let's just say in a hypothetical scenario, we go back and we put up the drone again. Oh Jesus, we've lost Morgan. Hey.
Oh, have you got me back?
Yeah. What happened there, man? That's weird. Okay, so hypothetically,
I don't know. Maybe they have us. They have us in their sights already.
And this is just them letting us know that they are on to us. Okay, yeah. Fair enough. Right. Battle lines drawn. Yeah. Hey, hello. How's it going? Hypothetically, we send up a drone, and it's actually funny that happened when I mentioned putting up a drone again. Yeah. Yeah. So what do we see then? Do we see a bunch of white tents, with fucking army personnel going back and forth and like what's?
Yeah. So again, if we were to say, there'd be no real way to confirm any fucking thing really, because all we would see from the air would be, like you said, if there was tents there, be it security tents or if they're tents for refugees or immigrants. So we would see people walking around, and that's really it, So unless they're particularly sloppy and they're out, firing fucking guns, doing a bit of training, but you're not going to see that much, really. So that's what doesn't make sense to me, like what the plan is here. So obviously the plan isn't for 600 ex-UK military personnel and loyalist paramilitaries to all be stationed there. So they're taking over the security for the entire operation of IPAS centres and direct provision centres throughout the country. So obviously there is an awareness now that people are protesting these centres. What these guys can do, really beyond what an ordinary security guard could do, is beyond me, unless they're giving the all clear to start shooting people, right? Well, that's fair enough. But then from a kind of counterinsurgency aspect, it's like, okay, well, what are they going to start taking people out? Like, are they going to start, targeting protesters, threatening them, having them, falsely arrested? Like, who fucking knows? Like, just look up the playbook, right? And for a lot of people, just talking about this could be enough. Which again, there's been counter accusations against GP that well, he's doing this, as part of a psyop to stop people, and that's where you get into all sorts of fucking, the fog just becomes too much. When then everybody's an agent, But again, this could be chilling enough. This could have a chilling effect. Oh my God, but there's 600 X. Well, I'm not going fucking anywhere near any of that. Like, I'll just stay at home, sit on the sofa, and see how it all plays out, because fear is it's a big fucking thing, like, so if it is going to be like essentially a militarized compound, well, then people aren't going to be very much interested in going up and having a look at what's happening, And again, the only thing that would snap people out of the bubble is if we went there, and that's what we did see. If we saw men training with arms or something like that, well, then people go, oh my God, what the fuck is going on? Everything else is just kind of it's like, all right, well, that's interesting. I didn't know that was happening. Oh, there's more people there than I would have thought. But we need to see, because it's not good enough just to have this in front of us and go, okay, well, that's the truth. Or then to have the counter to that. Well, there's nothing going on. It's just, 50 guys who used to be in a band together and they're just in there playing instruments, and they're the poor devils of the world. So we don't have media that we can rely on who's independent and impartial. So we have to essentially take it upon ourselves to go and investigate, or have a look at other people's footage, and we have to do that. And we should have been doing that all along, really, but we haven't been trained as citizens to do that, because we've all been told that we're powerless, we're weak, and that these people in government are better than us. That they're our superiors, and really they're not. They're just managers, middle managers in any sort of company that you've ever worked for. And we all know what people think of middle management when they, other than the fact that, our jobs and livelihood depends on them. But outside of it, when it comes to the Christmas party, it's like, fuck off. Get away from me, you piece of shit, or I'll beat your head in with a fucking shovel, And that's who we're dealing with on a governmental level. But if these guys are coming to take over security, well, then, one, it's not good for protesters. Two, it's not going to be good for the guys who are inside that they're protecting, because you think they're going to have patience for those people. Maybe they're going to train them, so that's another that's another question. Well, are they training them? What's really going on here? Are they going to train these guys? Are they going to recruit from within? We don't really know.
Right.
So we just have to go with this for the moment. See what we can garner from it. We have to wait until the 24th until we hear the audio. Even then, that's no guarantee that it actually happened. So again, this could be a psyop from a friendly source, So if the guy is involved in kind of psyop operations, well, this could be another side for him, where people just go, oh, this is fucking outrageous, this is clear proof, and then people will rise and will get off their arses and do something about it before it becomes something else. We just don't know. So we have to investigate, and it's on people to, do their own due diligence and find out. But I do wish this is the case, because then it would be it's the next step, of actual proof that, hang on a minute, this can't be. But it is, the timing's odd as well, because we've only got a few months, really. So the longest we can go without a general election is, I think, March of next year. And Simon the Jew Harris, as I shall now call him, did promise that he would, to his coalition partners, that he would see out the full term of the government. And if that is the case, well, that might add credence to this as well. If there is, or if there are attacks on these centres, well, then it may end up in, well, you know what, we just have to suspend the election altogether, because we have a serious emergency now, so we have to go back to emergency legislation and declare a general state of emergency within the state. But we don't know, and we can't know. And the danger in projecting that is that it just instills fear and stasis in people, and you end up doing nothing, and it's back to coronavirus time, where people are biting their nails. Oh, I can't leave the fucking house because, a pipe bomb might go off in my face. Or
there's a lot of different ways to look at this. Shall we carry on reading?
Yeah. So the companies that were on site at any time were given 1 hour's notice before these new companies were put in place. Thus, there was confusion outside Thornton Hall last Friday, as the notice was not served on the security companies in situ. For now, here are the details of the company names, the principals, and the directors of the companies. Where did that go? Page moved on me. Am I being hacked? For now, here are the details. Their company registration details at the UK Companies House, which is the UK's equivalent of the Irish Companies Registration Office. This and other information is the following posts 3 to 8 from the backdrop of the final part, for fuck's sake, which is how it all ties together and what it all means for the sovereignty of the nation of Ireland and the safety of the Irish people. 1. Horizon Security Solutions Limited, Muir.
Okay.
Paul correspondence address, Oakbank, Fisherwood Road, Balloch, Glasgow, Scotland, G83 8SW, company number of blah, blah, blah. Praetorian Security Limited Company.
Oh.
Armstrong, David Stephen, correspondence address, 19 Northwood Road, Belfast, Northern Ireland. Elite Security Solutions, 2 to 4, Ballou Avenue, Ballou Industrial Estate, Bangor, BT 197QT. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so we haven't had a look at any of those. But it was no surprise, like security companies tend to be staffed by fucking thugs. Who would have thought it, you know? So we can have a look into those. So these are the 3 security companies apparently that now have the contract, and they're hiring people apparently who were previous loyalist paramilitaries and previously members of the UK Armed Forces and current members of the Armed Forces. Okay, that's the extent of post number 2, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we move to post number 3.
Yeah, I sent you that one.
All right, perfect. Let me just open it.
All right.
Hang on. Oh, great. Computer decides to fucking...
Okay,
breaking.
Tuatha De Danann exposes foreign infiltration in Ireland. Part 3. Bad actors implicated by upcoming audio recordings and footage. Republic of Ireland. 1. Multiple politicians, including cabinet members within the 33rd Dáil Éireann, including government and opposition members. 2. Serving and former members of An Garda Síochána. 3. Serving and former members of Defence Forces of Ireland. 4. The National Vetting Bureau, An Garda Síochána. 5. The Private Security Authority, PSA, Irish, on Tuadaras, for fuck's sake. Shandala, thank you. But please, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just skip the Gaeilge.
Okay.
So the Private Security Authority of Ireland.
Yeah.
Oh, great. The next one is only in Irish. Commission, the Mean, Health and Safety Executive, TUSLA, Child and Family Agency, and the Health and Safety Authority.
And to be clear, Commissioner Nameen is basically the Ministry of Truth.
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, that's it.
Okay. All right.
So
I imagine that these people have been in talks with these private security groups, and they've been making arrangements for them in the country, etc., etc.
Yeah, so they'll all need PSI licenses if they're going to operate as security guards. So there's some level of training there. So imagine it's been... I can't imagine that any of them will have difficulty obtaining a license. They'll just, sign off on it. And it's not like it takes a lot to become a security guard, a licensed security guard anyway. HSE, so I suppose if they're going into these sites and they're acting for, internal security as well, then they'd have to be vetted by the Gardaí. They'd have to, again, the HSE, the Health Service Executive. Yeah, every agency basically, or a lot of Irish agencies are involved in IPAS centres. So, the HSE, the Health and Safety Authority. And again, again, it's not like they're doing their job any fucking way as things stand. Like everything's just getting, everything's just being passed anyway. It's like, yeah, it's grand. Yeah, okay. So you think like that it wouldn't have come up as a red flag. Okay, we're putting fucking, 600 men together in tents in a field somewhere. Anybody can see any problems that might emerge on a health front or a child protection front here. We're also going to move in children and women next to them. Anybody? No? Okay, right, let's go. Okay, sign here. Let's go ahead. Everything will be A-O fucking K. So right. That really should have been part of that doesn't deserve an update on its own. That could have been easily lumped in with another one. Okay, breaking. Tuatha De Danann exposes foreign infiltration in Ireland. Part 4. Bad actors implicated in upcoming audio recordings and footage. Northern Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales. Serving and former members of British Army, army.mod.uk, specifically 1.1, serving and former members of the Parachute Regiment. That's not good. Brings
No.
memories of the North. They didn't seem nice. Maybe they're woke now. like they're all lovey-dovey. 1.2, serving and former members of the Royal Marines. Ooh. And also the Royal Marine Commandos. And officially as the Corps of Royal Marines. The Police Service of Northern Ireland. God, it's not looking good. And the Security Industry Authority, SIA. So the SIA is essentially the English version of the PSA.
Okay.
So it's the same organization. Yeah, that's not great now if it's a lot of ex-members of the Parachute Regiment, the Royal Marines, and the Royal Marines Commando. That's pretty top-level stuff. And that's not your average security guard. You know, these are the guys who go into private, as private military contractors, and they kind of demand top dollar. You know, it's not like, you know, $13.50 an hour will do the job to get an ex-commando, unless they've fallen on bad times, they've got a crack habit or something like that, you know, and they need a few quid, so they take up a security gig. So part 5, breaking. The Black and Tans are back in town. The Tuatha De Danann investigation, part 5. Coordination and deployment of non-Irish paramilitary and ex-British military personnel in Dublin. Non-Irish paramilitary and ex-British military personnel are now in Dublin and have been active for the past 6 days, performing the transition to run from the 6th of September to the 20th of September 2024 as they take over from the legacy security contractors who were manning on IPAS centres across Dublin city and county. To avoid harm to our source and operatives, the unedited original audio intercepts will be published on Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. This is for reasons related to protecting our operatives and other sources, operational security reasons, and TCSM avoidance, which would likely result in the detection and destruction of our devices. What's TCSM?
I remember looking that one up.
All right, technical surveillance countermeasures. Okay,
there you go.
So in case they destroy, how does that make sense?
Oh, by the way, OPSEC is open source. No, wait. What? No, wait. That's OPSEC reasons and TSM. Okay, operational security. I mean, that's kind of redundant and a bit showy. Oh, look, this is a word I know. Yeah, it doesn't make sense because, you know, those devices will have to be removed, and now people know to be on the lookout for when someone's removing devices. And then when the audio recordings and maybe video, I don't know, is video coming out as well?
I've only heard about audio. So I've heard about audio from a WhatsApp group, which again is kind of disturbing because there can't have been that many people within the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
So it'll be kind of obvious.
Who's the rat? Yeah.
Yeah, who's the rat? You know, it's like, okay, well, everyone else signed up. Who are we missing? Igor. Right. Get fucking Igor in here now.
So, like, let's just say they have an audio device planted somewhere and that has to be removed. Well, then they just need to look back on their own surveillance and see, who's been in this corner? Because we know it was there because we could hear that it was there because we have specialized equipment and experienced fucking personnel.
Yeah. Well, that's it. As soon as you fucking say, listen, here's the deal. Well, then it's like, okay, well, all right, well, I'll tell you what, okay. Let's just wait until the 25th and see what happens. Like, we won't go looking for those devices in the meantime or have any sort of investigation into it. We'll just wait and see what happens. So again, unless it could be explained to me, but it doesn't make sense, which to my mind is why you would release it immediately, because, you know, giving prior warning about it surely would increase the risk of those devices being discovered.
Yeah.
And also the recordings being confiscated, you know, which if that happens, it's like, I'm never listening to the man again. I have to say, like, if it's a case of, we had this stuff, but unfortunately, It's some special unit of the guards have now confiscated it, and
Yeah,
blah, blah,
they
blah,
looked
blah.
under the table in the boardroom.
Yeah, it's now evidence that, but again, we have to hold off until the 25th
Yeah.
to find out what's going on.
That's a long fucking wait, man. Jesus.
I know, yeah, but, you got to build, what's it called?
Suspense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Talk about building suspense.
I know, yeah, build, yeah, there we go. Suspense. The Office of Government Procurement. This contract did not comply with the Office of Government Procurement section. Oh, for fuck's sake, it's this procurement policy, goods and services form, Office of Government Procurement. Okay. You're doing this deliberately just to have me stumble over the word fucking procurement. Published on the 23rd of December 2021 and last updated on the 6th of August 2024. The Procurement Policy Goods and Services Unit is responsible for shaping and delivering Ireland's commitment to national and EU public procurement priorities, namely a future of public procurement. Jesus Christ. How many procurements is that? Fucking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So, namely, a future for public procurement that is transparent and socially, environmentally, and economically sustainable.
Okay.
Below are specific sections for different aspects of procurement, and 2 links provided. Northern Irish and former British Army contractors. Extracts from 500 plus CVs in our possession of Northern Ireland and former British Army soldiers and specialists now employed at Thornton Hall by the Irish government with permission from Garda Commissioner Andrew Jeremy Harris, OBE, KPM, and with no objection from within the 33rd Dáil Éireann show that these private security and private military companies have 1. Led a large-scale security crisis team in Baghdad, Iraq. 2. Was accountable for the briefing of 12 members representing the diplomatic intelligence apparatus of members of FVEY Espionage Alliance and other IC non-FVEY's members who were part of the coalition in Iraq. Acted as the primary external stakeholder liaison for high-profile security functions across Basra. Ran an at-scale human intelligence HUMINT group, group to develop a flexible security threat assessment in a highly volatile environment in Mosul. Provided project situational awareness, advanced reconnaissance, facilitation, site security vulnerability, and penetration assessments for multiple public, private, diplomatic, and compound locations. Mentored contractors for high-risk covert civilian taskings, namely the extrajudicial assassinations by Reaper drone programs, first introduced against U.S. citizens on non-U.S. soil by the Obama administration. Performed large-scale handoffs to civilian functionaries post-coalition forces withdrawals from certain regions. Led public safety and public order deployments across Baghdad involving civilian protesters. Covertly infiltrated and acquired CIA assets within insurgency groups. Used the CIA assets to discredit and destroy multiple emerging dissident peaceful civilian human rights groups and lobbyists. Chief Crisis and Disaster Emergency Reaction Team Leader, responsible for conducting scenario-based training exercises and ensuring effective security response systems, weapons handling, weapons safety, and marksmanship. Reviewed and updated the Strategic, Tactical, and Operational All-Deployment Security Risk Assessment Handbook. Ensured security mitigations were commensurate with the threat to protect assets from public protest. Audio extracts, troop deployment transition period, 6th to the 20th of September 2024. We have a total of 187 minutes of audio from 27 sessions in our possession. In one of the audio files in our possession, the speaker addresses all the listeners as troops. And that sounds worrying, but let's face it, if you're coming from that background, well then you're going to refer to people as troops, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's just who they are.
Yeah. The WhatsApp group call is the medium being used. Troop arrivals. See point 1 in the section within the title, Operational Plans and Logistics, 6th to the 20th of September. Below. 4.1, 40 troops arrived at Dublin Airport from England on Friday, September the 6th, 2024, and deployed to Thornton Hall at 1,800 hours. Okay, so at a minimum, there's 40 guys in there.
Okay.
Okay, 40 is also the number of people that were said to go in there initially, wasn't it? 40.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, what if this is another one of those switcheroos where, they say, oh, this is just for either, homeless people, or it's for just women and children, and then suddenly it's like 200 African men. And what if this time it's worse and it's, oh, we're saying this is for migrant men? Well, surprise.
It's 600 ex-military guys.
It's a compound now. It's a center of operations.
Yeah. So 40 troops arrived at Dublin Airport from England on Friday, September the 6th, and deployed to Thornton Hall at 1,800 hours. 20 troops arrived at Dublin Airport from Northern Ireland on Friday, September the 6th, and were deployed to Thornton Hall at 1,800 hours. Okay, so that's 60 men in Thornton Hall. A further 60 troops arrived on Saturday, the 7th of September at 0600 hours for a total of 120 troops on site at Thornton Hall for the 14-day transition period from the existing on-site security firms to the new contractors and troops. The existing on-site security firms were to be given 1 hour's notice of the termination of the contracts by the government at 1,700 hours, but the government failed to do so, thus causing the observed confusion at the gates at Thornton Hall.
That sounds very Irish, all right.
The new PCUSP, privately contracted unarmed security personnel contracting firm, intends to poach some of the already on-site PSD contractors personnel from the on-site security firms if they possess appropriate skills, abilities, and previous experience. Operational plans and logistics. Each new contractor was given directions to a parking facility at Dublin city centre, where their private vehicles are stored while they are on their 96-hour shift rotations. Each new contractor was then...
Wait, can I stop here? This jumped out at me. What cars?
Each new contractor was given directions to a parking facility in Dublin city centre where their private vehicles are stored. Okay, unless they've been given company vehicles.
Wow, because you're right. Company vehicles, man.
Yeah, I know, right? But again, they will need transport.
Yeah.
So if you're going to essentially be living in the compound for 96 hours, the shift rotations, but then 96 hours you're free to do as you wish. So they may not actually have vehicles yet. So they may, if they do have vehicles, well then, they can be stored in this parking facility. So if you're coming down from the north, not too much of a stretch. You can, drive down. You wouldn't really need to fly in, to be fair, if you wanted to bring your car. But if you want to hire a car or something, and it goes on later to say how much these people are being paid. So we'll have a look at that. So each new contractor was given directions to a parking facility in Dublin city centre where their private vehicles are stored while they are on their 96-hour shift rotations. Each new contractor was then assigned their team leader. Each contractor was then briefed on their designated location site, their duties and former activities, protesters to date at that site, as well as a threat assessment of the protesters at their location. Each contractor was given an ID lanyard, the registration number of the deployment vehicle for transportation to and from the parking facility in Dublin city centre to their respective location/site. The contractors will commence handling core tasks immediately upon arrival at their designated site. Each contractor will work alongside a Horizon member of staff during the transition period. Each contractor was asked for their PSA or SIA certificate and badge. SIA Security Industry Authority. Under UK law, a person must apply for an SIA licence if they're engaged in the following: cash and valuables transits, close protection, door supervision, key holding, public space surveillance, security guarding, vehicle immobilisation, and non-front line. Applying for a licence does not guarantee a licence. To be successful, you must pass all of the application checks. The contract details. A contract was signed between the new Northern Ireland, Scottish and English PSC and PMC firms with a government representative called Odin.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Wow.
Um, fucking aliens and
So this is some dude called Odin.
yeah, codename Odin.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
but like nobody's gonna really call you that in that circle if you're, not if you haven't lived up to it.
yeah, I know. It's something to live up to, all right, isn't it? Fucking Odin.
All father.
The duration of the contract is set for a minimum of 12 months with an option to extend indefinitely. Financial motivation. Each of the Northern Ireland Scottish and English PSCs and PMC firms consider the operation a significant moneymaker. In one of the audio files, the signatory on behalf of the consortium laughed as he stated, "This will run itself. All we have to do is smash a few Fenian skulls and let the heavy lads take care of the heavy stuff."
Right. Oh man, you don't need to release anything else. Just that 4-second clip. That'll do.
That'll do the job. And again, like I said, if it is a psyop, particularly good one,
yeah.
Just get a couple of lads from the north to, record themselves talking, mention that, and that will fucking get people's heckles up straight away. Salary ranges. Each contractor will receive at least 8,000 British pounds a month in wages, plus expenses. The taxpayer will supply all equipment requested.
Of course.
And the contracting firms will retain all equipment post-contract. Okay. It sounds like an Irish contract, all right, to fucking me. Like, so how much is that going to cost? Have you got a calculator? Can you bring up a calculator app handy? We've got 600 personnel. 8 grand a month. What's that work out as?
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Hold on.
I ain't touching this computer.
We have 800 men, yeah?
600 men.
600 men at
8,000
grand a piece.
That's sterling now,
to
so
be
we'd
conservative.
Have to
yeah, and then by 12 for the initial duration of the project, and we're talking about just over 57.5 million.
All right, that seems a bit much.
And by the way, that's I
sterling.
think, yeah. So we're talking what 62 million then.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah,
we'll see what the current sterling to euro rate is.
And that's of course, not including the vast amounts of equipment that these guys will need to basically run a native suppression program.
Yeah. I suppose we just got 14 million from Apple, so I suppose that will cover it for a couple of years. Or was it 14 billion?
14, yeah.
Right. So what have you got in sterling again? Give me the figure. 53. Was it 53?
57.6 million.
Okay, 57,600,000 to euro. Not too far off. 68,198,258 euros.
That's the bare minimum.
Yeah, that's without expenses.
And that's the lowest wage per person, yeah. So
if this is true and you're getting 8 grand a month, it's going to be expected that you're going to kill a few people. Like you don't pay that money out to fucking just anybody, but it seems a bit much,
Yeah. Well, to put it in perspective, I mean that's what the Russian military is paying, and they definitely expect you to kill people if you need to.
Yeah. So each contractor, do we know what the average wage for a private military contractor is? So let's read that again. Each contractor will receive at least 8,000 a month in wages. Okay. Yeah, so they're saying that's each individual, isn't it? So each individual will receive 8. So if the individuals are receiving 8 grand, well then it has to be in excess of that, because if the average contractor or the actual member of personnel is receiving 8 grand, well then the team leader's got to be receiving at least 12, then the directors of the company and the upper management have got to be in receipt of a lot more than that,
ZipRecruiter.com says, how much does a private military contractor make? As of September 5th, 2024, the average hourly pay for a PMC in the United States is $26.64.
All right. Well, this is well above that fucking pay grade. Like, so I don't know how good these guys are. But it is an Irish contract, so they may not shop the round.
Brown envelopes, man.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't know, maybe that figure's been inflated to create outrage. Nothing will get an Irish person more upset than, being overpaid, like 8 grand, 300 grand for a bike shed, and 8 grand a fucking month. Are you kidding me?
Oppressed.
Yeah, if I'm going to be oppressed, it better not be more than 50 quid an hour. I don't care. I don't care about the oppression, but I will not have money wasted on the oppression. I'll do it myself for 45 or okay, UKSV, geopolitical insurgency, counterinsurgency, and infiltration vets. Whew. The UKSV, United Kingdom Security Vetting, is the primary UK government provider of security clearances and is part of the Cabinet Office. The Cabinet Office supports the British Prime Minister and ensures an effect. But see, this smacks of filler.
Yeah. There's a lot of fucking filler in this, to be fair.
A lot. Like, so it doesn't need to be like if we just need the kind of vital information.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's but like, again, let me explain to you for a moment how rainbows work.
Yeah. Then you go into all the Rainbow Agency, like first discovered the rainbows in Ireland and 7 AD. Shawnee, leprechaun. The Cabinet Office supports the British Prime Minister. Okay, the UKSV military contractors are scheduled to arrive in the Republic of Ireland on September the 24th. What? Okay. The contract with the Irish government calls for a minimum of 450 contractors with a provision to increase the number to 600 plus circumstances demand. From reviewing the CVs in our possession, these heavies mentioned above in the section titled Financial Motivation, these contractors have had multiple tours of Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Sudan, Mali, and Libya. In the section above titled Financial Motivation, the reference to the heavy lads refers to the geopolitical insurgency, counterinsurgency, and infiltration UKSV, United Kingdom Security Vetting contractors who started arriving in the Republic of Ireland on September the 24th. The shiny new 21st century Black and Tans. For the first 24 hours, initial staffing will be split between 50 contractors on the day shift and 50 on the night shift. All contractors will remain on site, whether on or off duty. Further staffing adjustments will be made based on personnel availability on site, poached from existing on-site firms whose contracts were terminated on September the 6th, 2024. What date did we visit there? Was it a week or two before that? Was it? Wasn't long, was it?
Geez, when was it? It was mid-August, wasn't it?
Yeah. At that stage, there was no security on site, was there? There was like fucking...
There was one guy...
having a piss.
There was one guy at the gate just kind of doing his phone, and then when we went to the gate, he was kind of a bit confused, and he started to open the gate and then close it, and then another security guy came down. So we're talking 2-3 people at most.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, the only way to find out would be to, again, get back down, put something up. There's been a high degree of bad feeling amongst the previous security firms regarding their replacement.
Oh shit!
And there were several incidents over the weekend between the old and the shiny new Black and Tans. Short-term arrangements maintain required personnel numbers to ensure operational success. The responsibility for writing schedules and managing all staff will fall to a team based in Northern Ireland. High Court order for state security on the 27th of June 2023 and again on the 26th of June 2024. The Minister for Justice, Helen McAtee, accompanied by Garda Commissioner Andrew Jeremy Harris, KPM, OBE, RUC, PNSI, MI6. May have a grudge against this man.
Yeah.
At an in-camera and ex parte High Court judge hearing, obtained a High Court order from order requiring telecommunication service providers to retain specific data of all Irish citizens, including user traffic and location data, for 12 months to safeguard the security of the state using the Telecommunications Retention of Data Amendment Act 2022. Press release 2024. Minister McAtee obtains High Court order requiring retention of data for state security. The Minister also signed the Communications Retention of Data Security Regulation 2023 on the 26th of June, and also used the Communications Retention of Data Amendment Act 2022, which she signed on the 6th of June 2023, and which came into force on the 26th of June 2023, 17 hours before she invoked its new self-appointed mass surveillance powers. See Irish Statute Book.ie, and the link is there. Press release in the 2024, Minister McAtee obtains a High Court order requiring the retention of data for state security. The Minister applied for the retention of such data under Section 3A of the Communications Retention of Data Act 2011, the state's legal framework governing the retention of and access to telecommunications data. The application was made to a relevant judge, designated by the President of the High Court under Section 3A10 on Friday, June 21st. Justification of mass surveillance of the Irish people. McAtee justified both mass surveillance of the Irish citizenry on the basis that she said, I made an application for an order having assessed the threat to the security of the state and having satisfied myself that there exists a serious and genuine present or foreseeable threat to the security of the state, that such threat is likely to continue for at least the next 12 months. No explanation of that profound and genuine present or foreseeable threat to the security of the state was ever being provided. Provoke/create incidents. All information and data acquired by Tuatha Dé Danann and TMG Corp, as well as documentation in their possession received from whistleblowers and conversations that were recorded, reveal that 1. A planned, organised operation that emphasises securing personnel for highly coordinated shifts for the initial phase of manning security positions at 22 plus sites within 50 minutes of driving from Dublin city centre has been launched to accelerate the mass inward migration of unvetted male migration.
Redundant.
Yeah. 2. The beginning of a concerted campaign of politicised warfare against the Irish people and Irish protesters. The implementation of an unnecessary counterinsurgency plan based on the ridiculous notion that Ireland is a nation in a state of emergency. Planned politicised use of the obligatory non-politicisation of An Garda Síochána. Infiltration tactics were conducted by several specialist contractors as above, who were proven experts in these tactics against peaceful Irish protesters and concerned Irish people orchestrate incidents and or gather information and or items found in searches during raids. The intention is to then use the captured media to 1. Discredit anti-government protesters, dissident democratic political parties and Irish nationalist-themed associations. Discredit associated political parties and non-political associations. Turn public attention from the risks of mass inward unvetted migration to a new manufactured national security domestic terrorism threat, allegedly but falsely created as a narrative by the government and foreign agents represented by 1 and 2 above. 4. Allow the 33rd Dáil to accelerate the adoption of bills as acts, bills such as the Anti-Free Speech Bill, and adopt more draconian centralised emergency powers to further suppress the voices of dissidents and nationalists in the run-up to the general election. 5. There was speculation in another chatter that the possibility exists, based on 3 above, to prescribe several existing organisations as terrorist organisations using existing laws, with the justification being the actions of the marquee events created by the geopolitical insurgency, counterinsurgency and infiltration contractors of the Northern Ireland and British private security companies and Northern Ireland and British private military companies.
Sorry, what did that last one even mean?
I don't know. Let's read it again slowly. There was speculation in other chatter that the possibility exists, based on 3, to turn public attention from the risks of mass inward migration to a new manufactured threat. to prescribe several existing organizations as terrorist organizations.
Right.
Okay. So we can take a guess at that would be the National Party, Irish Freedom Party, Ireland First, all of them really.
Yeah, but they could start with something more, feasible and less controversial, like say Clon Aaron.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
They're acting up. So
that Nazi guy,
Yeah.
Just on time. Just on time, Justin. Oh, I wonder who you work for.
Mm-hmm. Using existing laws, with the justification being the actions of the marquee event created by geopolitical insurgency, counterinsurgency, and affiliation contractors of the Northern Ireland. Yeah, that's where the confusion comes in, because it's there's 18 different agencies mentioned there. Okay, so that's where it ends. There's been no further updates, I don't think, is there?
No, there's a number 6. Unmarked and unaccounted. The mysterious arrival of containers at Irish Defence Force barracks nationwide. And it's a lengthy one. Well, it's not really, I mean...
Okay, I need to stop to fucking get a drink. Like, my mouth is fucking... My cheeks are falling off at this stage. Okay. All right. We got a part 6.
Yeah.
All right. During the break there, I just went on to the app I use for when I'm flying a drone.
All right.
Because it dawned on me, like, if you have, counterinsurgency experts now in charge of operations at Thornton Hall, the first thing you would do to neutralize the threat of aerial reconnaissance would be to have the area designated a no-fly zone. That would make sense, wouldn't it? Nothing's changed.
All right.
So
well, officially anyway, right?
Yeah. So yeah. Well, maybe they've overlooked it, but that would be the easiest solution.
Yeah. It's the basic thing,
No, it wouldn't stop some criminally minded person who doesn't take laws into account to go ahead and do it anyway. But that would be of no consequence. But you just wouldn't want some law-abiding citizen.
Huh. We lost Morgan again.
Place, but maybe they're still settling in. I said maybe they're still just settling in.
Yeah, so we got caught that part. Yeah. Look, I know that's not the case. You've got to get your situational awareness up and running, and then your security in that order. They're not just fucking making their beds, and kind of playing football or something, like this is serious shit, man. I think it's very possible that when we go back there later this month, I think maybe possibly, you will lose your drone. Like if they really are there, they're going to detect the drone first of all, and then they're going to turn on a drone jamming device and probably bring it back to their HQ.
Yeah, that's what would, if they're serious. That's exactly what would happen. Like, so they'd have called a drone cannon. So like you said, they would just point it at the drone, take control of it, and have it land within the compound. And then I have a nervous breakdown, waiting for fucking ex-SAS troops to come and find me. And it wouldn't be difficult because they'd have access to the drone. There's me telling them what to do. But they'd have access to it. And if it was that serious, well, then everybody would be on the radar anyway. And that's the kind of danger. If this shit isn't true, like, that puts that kind of stuff in people's fucking head, like, and it can cripple people, to not do anything, because now the threat's so great. And that's what's been, the charges have been labeled against this man, excuse me, rightly or wrongly, that he is in fact an agent. And what he's engaging in is to sow division within the quote-unquote movement, which he's rightly pointed out to ask the question, what fucking movement? He's asking the question, what are you actually fucking doing other than sitting in your armchairs,
right?
Running X spaces while you're afraid not to shout in case your wife gives out to you.
Come on, can we just listen to him, because he's fucking man, he's great. Give me a second to call up that video, because it was I don't know who he was responding to, but I don't care. I don't care who's in the right, who's in the wrong. This is a thing of fucking beauty.
Yeah, and we should try and get the man on, because that would be interesting, I think.
Yeah, I would be completely up for that. If he'd have us
exactly.
after this, you know. But
this is tame. Like, we could have went all out, like, and just.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, I think we're being fair here. I think we're being balanced. You know, we're just asking questions. You know, we're showing healthy skepticism, which I would hope that, you know, if he's who he says he is, that he would be in support of that. You know. For God's sake, I can't find this video. I'm thinking in my replies or something, but I think it was like that many fucking days ago that
no, it's probably in his Twitter feed. Is it? Like, if you just go into his Twitter feed, I'm sure it's probably. Did I send you a Twitter link or an X link? Was it?
Yeah, you did send me the link to this particular video. And man, I talk on this thing for fucking too long, much longer than is good for my mental health. Fuck, where is it? It's gold. You know what? I'll probably find it for later. But he's just he's gold, man.
Okay, I'll go through this sixth post.
Yeah, and I'll just put it up on the screen as well.
Excuse me. So, breaking, unmarked and unaccounted. The mysterious arrival of containers at Irish Defence Force barracks nationwide, Part 6. Over the past 6 weeks, unexplained deliveries have raised alarms within the Irish Defence Forces. A mix of 40-foot high cube containers and 20-foot containers have been delivered to multiple military installations across the Republic of Ireland, including prominent sites such as Collins Barracks in Cork, the Hullaballine Naval Base, the Curragh Camp, and several other strategic locations. The contents of these containers remain unknown, guarded, and shrouded in secrecy. Deviation from standard military protocol. Standard military protocol for such deliveries typically involves a modest security detail of 2 soldiers per container. However, in these unprecedented cases, each container is guarded by a contingent of 8 soldiers, including an elevated security concern or significant importance. No paperwork. Compounding the mystery, these containers lack any bills of lading, or it should be loading, is it? Bills of loading manifests or documentation that would trace their arrival through official channels. There are no records of these containers passing through any Irish port or manifests lodged with port authorities.
By the way, it is lading.
A
bill of lading is a legal document that's issued by a transportation company to a shipper.
Okay, my mistake. Specialized seals and remote CCTV monitoring by unknown third party. The containers are sealed with specialized locks that trigger alarms if tampered with, and each is fitted with CCTV cameras. Disturbingly, no member of the Defence Forces appears to have access to the CCTV or knows from where they are being monitored. This opaque operational oversight raises troubling questions about who controls these highly guarded assets within Ireland's sovereign military facilities. Threat of court-martial. Senior Defence Forces personnel have voiced concerns about the containers, only to be met with strict warnings to cease all inquiries under the threat of court-martial.
That doesn't make sense. You can be done legally for asking questions.
Maybe, I suppose, if you're persistent enough and if someone's giving you an order to
shut up,
shut up, like, to, ask no further questions, and you continue, you're essentially disobeying an order.
Right. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know. Like, let's be honest. Our fucking military experience is mostly TV based and around American military, really. At least mine is. I won't speak for anybody else.
Yeah, but have you ever heard of someone jailed in front of a sitting of a military court because they wouldn't shut up?
No. But again, this is going to be fucking hearsay, isn't it? Like, so let's take it at face value. So he's talking to some guy, or some guy in the Irish military. Mm-hmm. This military guy has asked somebody above him what's going in there. What the fuck's going on there? Like, what's with that container? And it's like, oh, I don't know. Listen, we can't talk about it. You shouldn't be asking questions. So, come on, fuck off, leave me alone. Mm-hmm. Then the next day he's like, come on, just tell me what's going on, what's going on. And then shut the list. If you don't shut up, it's a court martial. That's the end of the story. We can't talk about it, And if you're persistent with this, well, then it will be a court martial. Either that, or we're just looking at a script, But I don't want to. I'm more inclined to believe it as truthful.
Yeah.
Factual, we couldn't say without seeing all the documentation, and but that's not likely to happen. Is it? It's not like we're going to have a recording of this military person and have his credentials, and then be okay. Well, this matches up. And this matches out. But
this could be a tribunal 100 years from now.
Yeah. The chilling response suggests a level of external control or influence that undermines the chain of command and disrupts the transparency and accountability expected within any democratic military. So I don't think accountability and, democratic decision making is present in any.
No. Democracy doesn't exist in the military.
No, it's a corporate structure, top down.
Unless you're talking about like the top brass, when they come together, there is a kind of a process. What do we do next?
Yeah, I don't know. List of locations. The list of affected locations reads like a roll call of Ireland's critical military assets: Collins Barracks, Kilworth Camp, Hullaballine Naval Base, Finner Camp, Cohalbrua Barracks, McKee Barracks, Renmore Barracks, the Curragh Camp, Stevens Barracks, Sarsfields Barracks, Aiken Barracks, Gormanstown Camp, the Costume Barracks. The broad distribution of these containers suggests a coordinated effort that is strategically significant yet failed in impenetrable cloak of secrecy. So the implication is here, all of these, or the majority of these barracks also have migrants either on the barracks or very close to the barracks. So if, we can make the leap that if these containers are being secretly guarded, we can say, well, there's weapons inside for the refugees. If we go down the route of this is some clandestine army that is set to take over Ireland. So that's the implication. That's where people's mind would naturally jump to. Like, so people are already on the boat of this is a fucking an invasion force.
I can kind of see now why he would have the accusations leveled at him that, you're spooking the horses,
Yeah.
Because there's already a level of, let's say, mental illness involved in this idea that, like, all these refugees are an army in waiting. I'm sorry if, you out there partake in that belief. It's just that maybe your mind is under a severe amount of stress right now and you can't think things out logically. Let's be real. Do we really need like 1 million black guys with guns to put down this country? We already have foreign armies and police forces that can come over here in 5 hours and just put down any unrest that happens in Ireland. Like, you don't realize how fucking hopeless our situation is. They don't need backup.
Yeah, here's the real cognitive dissonance. You're already a fucking slave, right? You're already under control.
Yeah.
You've no idea how much control you're actually under. Like, so, the state doesn't need an army. It already has a fucking army, and not just the guys in the actual defense forces. Like, there's armies of fucking guards civil servants and petty bureaucrats and officials fucking everywhere. Every second or third person in the country is employed by the state. Right?
And
From a
fucking
state
school teachers.
yeah, from a state perspective, there is a threat to the state. Not really the people, but to the state, like the operational fucking success of the state. Because, you know, up until now, things have been A-okay, where they could essentially do whatever the fuck they wanted. Like they were just on the verge of saying it's okay, well, we can mutilate children, we can cut their breasts off and penises off, we can fucking eat them live on TV if we want to, really. But they just brought in too many migrants too quickly, and people just go, hang on a minute, this is changing the fucking fabric of society. And then people actually started to organise, started to protest, which, if you're honest about it, is very rare in Ireland, other than an organised protest by the left about, you know, a war in Iraq, or, you know, something that's external to Ireland that doesn't really, you know, involve us, but it looks great, and you can talk to your mates and say, yeah, you know, I was at the march. Yeah, I showed my solidarity for X, Y, and Z, and I did my bit, and I got out there and marched, and I held a fucking placard. That's all fine, but there is an actual threat to the state because, you know, people aren't buying it, and that's the first step. If you don't believe in the wizard, well, then, you know, the wizard holds no real power, so the wizard has to fucking, you know, do everything in his power to control the people. And so if they realise, well, let's audit the state of the Irish Defence Forces as it stands. Fuck, we're doomed. We've nothing. We don't even have a fucking navy. We don't even have people for the navy. Do we have enough weapons? I don't fucking know. Like, we didn't think we'd ever need it, because we knew we're not going to be invaded, and we have our friends to rely on. But we didn't factor in that, well, these fucking people might actually, you know, at some stage go, well, what the fuck's going on here? And they might be happy, and they might come after us, be it with fucking sticks or matches and firelighters, whatever it is. But if there's enough of them, we're fucking doomed. So it's, you know, it would be well within reason for them to, you know, okay, well, let's bring weapons in. Let's rely on our friends in the north. Apparently, fucking our leader and our Taoiseach, Simon Jew Harris, is friends with Keir Jew Starmer. I believe his mother is a Jew as well.
Connections.
So, you know, so they're all buddy, and they'll help each other out in times of trouble. But yeah, I've looked at a lot of these foreigners. Now, my view is that they will be kind of integrated into state apparatus. So, you know, guards are leaving by the fucking droves. I think more guards have been recruited in the last year by the Australian government than the Irish government. So, like, they're like, okay, well, if you believe you have some good guys, we'd like them, and we're going to offer them twice the salary, give them a house where they can actually, you know, raise a family and have somewhat a quality of life, you know?
Yeah.
So they're all fucking off there. We're being left with faggots and fucking 50 to 60-year-old fucking fat fucks who couldn't do a thing.
Yeah.
So they'll have to recruit from the refugee crowd. And, you know,
and it's actually just this past week or two that they've officially raised alarms saying, we're in crisis. The amount that we're hemorrhaging now, we're in a crisis. You were in a crisis fucking 3 years ago. You know, it's only now that you're saying, oh, you know, now that the water level is up to your neck, you're saying, hey, I don't think I'm doing so good here.
Yeah, they're panicking, and there's also an election as well, so it's to be expected on the horizon, you know. So yeah, they're panicking. Like, it's hard to believe they've only noticed now, you know. So, you know, there's a certain amount of people who could be trained, actually can speak the fucking language, to a decent extent where they could operate as guards. And then the rest of the refugees, to my mind, they're just fucking the rest of the world has emptied their mental asylums and prisons and just shoo the shit out as far as possible. And the last stop is us. So they're never going to be, you know, guards or fucking military personnel. They're just going to be, you know, just homeless fucking bums walking around exposing themselves, and so that people from inner city Dublin can, you know, take out a bit of aggression on them and stomp them into the fucking ground and throw them into the Liffey. So yeah, is there this giant fucking army in waiting here to butcher their people. Or maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
in a way.
Yeah, just not in the way we think,
Yeah.
So did we see like these guys suddenly being armed and running down the streets of Ireland, wielding AK-47s that are secretly being stored in Irish military barracks? I don't think so. Again, I mightn't even be think so. I hope not, because there will be a level of cognitive dissonance on my end. Who wants to fucking acknowledge that, And if you do acknowledge that, well, where does it leave you? It's either, okay, well, I'm going to hide in a ditch, emigrate, or I'm picking up a fucking something myself, in a futile attempt to do anything about it, But I don't know. But you're right. So that's why people are upset, because it's like, hang on a minute, like, you're spooking fucking everybody with this shit. Like, so that's what I'm saying earlier. This better be fucking true.
Yeah. And it better be big. It better actually nail home the point where, like, I could take what he releases and present it to the people around me in my life, and they say, oh, wow, Jesus, there's something to this.
Yeah, and you better not do the fucking Alex Jones routine where you say you stopped it because you exposed it. I'm not putting up with that. But just because it's not happening now because you exposed it and everything's just vanished and everything's hunky fucking dory.
Oh, yeah, like, these fucking companies are going to be happy with it suddenly being cancelled on them? Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, and I hope I genuinely hope it's true, because it gives me great hope in the fucking in the future of Ireland and Irish people like that. If this guy is right and he is the leader of the Tuatha De Danann, and this is what they're actually up to, and that there is an organization out there that can infiltrate these people, that is dedicated to Ireland and freedom and values things like freedom of speech and freedom, just freedom. Like, that's all you fucking want, is people who believe in some level of fucking freedom, So if this guy is legit, and I hope and pray he is,
that would be great.
Then, yeah, it would be amazing. I would happily, thank him in the street. That's not much now, to be honest. Like, it's like the least you could do, but that's all I could do. I would just genuinely and sincerely, thank the man, apologize that I ever doubted him. But how could you not? Because you don't know him. It's foolish to fucking believe people on face value.
Right. So are we going to finish this up and we can?
Yeah, we'll move on swiftly. So the list of locations, all the barracks in Ireland. The integrity, I didn't know we had that many fucking barracks, to be honest with you. I thought there was two. The integrity of Ireland's national defence infrastructure, the presence of these containers, their unknown contents, and the extraordinary security measures taken to protect them raises serious questions about the integrity of Ireland's national defence infrastructure. Are these shipments related to some clandestine military operation, covert alliance, or foreign intervention? The lack of transparency is not just an internal military concern. It touches on the broader issue of national sovereignty and the right of the Irish public to know what is happening within their. That's not going to happen ever. It's not like, you can't have everybody fucking knowing what's going on in the military. Like, you just can't. Maybe that's what happened to the two. Like, they just, well, fuck it. Everybody knows. They're right. Neutrality and transparency usurped. The Irish Defence Forces, known for their professionalism and dedication, now face a problem that goes to the heart of their operational independence. The silence from higher authorities is deafening, and without answers, the speculation will only grow louder for a country that prides itself on neutrality and transparent governance. These developments are not just unusual, they are a matter of national security that demands immediate security and answers from the highest levels of government. End.
All right.
Okay.
That's, and I found that video, by the way.
All right, excellent. Let's have a listen to that then, and we'll move along.
Okay. Is that unmuted now? It is. Okay.
I have three things to say in response to you, Jane. Number one, every time something impactful is delivered by myself, a whole crew of the same type of people come into the space while I'm not there and dump a whole lot of made up bullshit which emanates from the mouth of Michael O'Keefe and from the filth mouth of Gavin Pepper. I told you I'd wait for my moment, and my moment is now. An elected councillor, as useless as tits on a bull in an empty farmyard. That's what he is. As well as being a liar and a coward, both morally and physically, who nearly wet his fucking trousers when he got a slight rattle from the coppers. Not only that, but he thanked the police officers as he burns down the pallets on Pierce Street. He is, for all intents and purposes, the very definition of a fucking worm. To continue the vein, his Ireland is full BS narrative. I made the video, and English and others, incapable and with an agenda, did not finish the fucking sentence which said, Ireland is not full, and I do not believe in the thesis, because I want to welcome back the thousands and millions of hundreds of thousands of our diaspora. But they only took the first bit. With respect to the contents of these 4 posts to date, the 5th and the further posts, Codé on Scale, that other piece of fucking undoxed horse manure, came on last night and says, why don't you post it? Because he lives in a fantasy world of cod and doesn't understand the implications on the individual in question or those around him. So for people like him, I would like to say this: stay in your armchairs, because at the first sign of trouble you'll turn and run like the mixed up, confused big Egypts that you are, because when the test comes all you'll do is fail and let your comrades down and leave them to handle it on their own as you run back, and when the coppers do call to your house you'll drop your jocks, grab your ankles and tell them everything that they want to know. And third and finally, the audio files will be dropped in the next several tweets. And frankly, I'm not going to go on to a person's space to allow them to engagement farm while they allow the person take my name at scale, while I wave to them from the audience for the mic for over 10 minutes and then try and switch it and say like they were acting like a diplomat. And anybody who is trying to monetize themselves off this and donate me a coffee and do this because it costs a lot of money to set things up. Exactly how much does it cost to run a space as you sit in your living room and have to whisper while your wife's upstairs in case you get into trouble? The sum total of fuck all. What really costs money is political organisation and so on and so forth. And for those Americans who think they're donating to a political party and to a Daytona, how more times does it have to be described that it is an organisation, not a political party? That it is neither a registered political party nor does it intend to be, nor does it fall under the rules of a political party, nor does it intend to run for any positions in any government in any form, whether it be council, local, European or in the British mandated Dáil Éireann. I hope this clears it up, because I am tired of repeating myself like it's Groundhog Day. Grab me the Erden Gabrak.
Funny guy.
Yeah.
And he's right. You know, you've got to be careful who you're going into battle with, because they will either, you know, get in your way, scare the shit out of you, you know, like infect you with their fear, or, you know, just perform under par and get you killed, you know.
Yeah.
This is serious.
It is. It's serious fucking stuff. Like, so it's not a LARP, you know. Yeah. So there seems to be some continuous beef that goes back 2 years between all these people. That's probably why you're best fucking staying out of it and working with a group of no more than 6 people at a time, you know, or maybe one. You know, you can only get yourself in trouble, and there's no fear of outside influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, he seems to have an issue with Gavin Pepper. That was great. He took him down, and the issue with Gavin Pepper is because that's where it all emanated from. But yeah, people know the man's account now. So GP, if you want to follow all that horseshit and drama, you can. But it's a bit fucking childish, really. Now, obviously, the man can't not defend himself when people make accusations against him.
Yeah, to a point, yeah.
Yeah, but it's pathetic. That grown men are arguing about this kind of fucking nonsense, you know. And that's not so much aimed at him. That was from the Twitter space, because it was all very fucking childish and juvenile, you know. And if you do have a beef, well then, you know, it's probably best to do it somewhere privately, you know, have a meeting in a house somewhere and, you know, trash it out or whatever. Like, but to do it on a Twitter space
it's not
awful.
dignified, you know. You know, your enemies are going to look at it and then laugh and think, God, you know, these guys are going to be easy to push over.
And any potential allies will just turn off, you know. Like, so that was my initial thing. I was like, all right, I'm out of here. These people are fucking retards.
Yeah.
But my morbid curiosity made me hang around and listen a bit longer.